It's like a Rolling Stone?
Yeah, like a Rolling Stone.
Okay.
Yeah. So once upon a time,
I got you.
just so fun. Pretty much it, right? Works pretty well, doesn't it?
It did.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
It is.
It's kind of just a
Amazing.
sound, you know, and it's just like it's just a sound.
It's amazing that it works as good as it does. 'Cause I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just humming along.
Yeah, you just.
And I wasn't even thinking of what the song was. I was just kind of going with the
Right,
little
that's all you
chords
gotta
they're
do.
doing.
Yeah, that's all you really gotta do. So try your A minor out again.
Natural or the other one?
Natural.
Okay.
Should work.
You're gonna
I don't
make
know why
me
it's not
faint, I know
working.
it is.
You think about those guys that go nuts all night on this
These
thing.
things, man, what are they doing? There must be, it's like they're swimming,
Yeah.
you know, all day long, they're holding their breath.
Yeah, I guess I don't know, circular breathing. I don't know how it works.
Yeah,
Imagine playing like the tuba.
exactly. Jeez.
I mean, come on.
I'd be out of it. I'd be, "Woo."
That sounds more like D. Doesn't it? just. That seems to work a lot better in D. So that works pretty well.
Did work pretty well.
It's kind of crazy.
It is crazy. Sounds good. It's amazing. How do you record with one of these? I mean, you know, so like you just have to record it off a, you know, as opposed to you're not really plugging into anything. So.
Right. Yeah, it's an open acoustic thing. Unless you play with a distortion, sometimes people play them through a distorted microphone. Which is what gives them that certain sound. If you listen to well here, that's got some distortion in it, a little. Yeah, so that gives you a little bit of a sound. Little Walter was one of the best guys I can think of. For harmonica stuff. That's a whole thing going on there. For minor, I'm looking for nice minor key stuff, but let's see. Be a nice tune to look at.
So I was also looking at amps, and I like that amp that you brought in with that.
Tubes?
Was Spencer's, yeah.
But yeah, that's fantastic.
If I was going to get that one, I would get this with it. What do you think of that?
Well, the problem with that is that it will dampen the harmonic range. Like, it's okay, but it'd be interesting. Even better than that, although it costs more, would be that power station, which is $700. But the cool thing about that is you can take a low wattage amp and turn it up to 50 watts, make it loud, or you can turn it down to 0. You have a volume control that, which is amazing. Instead of that, which you actually have to click, and it's a whole different concept. It's not just a.
It's called a power amp?
It's called a power station, Fryette power station. Fryette is F-R-Y-E-T-T-E, I think. It's amazing. I mean, that's what I wanted to buy. That would give you the most of that if you really wanted to. Or you can get an even smaller amp, but if you want to get a really high...
So when you get that sound that you got to get it go from high to low, like you have...
Right. If you want to get a really nice one, a Fender Princeton, is 15 watts, 12 to 15
But that's
watts.
what that one emulates, is that one that he has.
Right. But a
that.
Princeton is better. Sounds better.
It sounds better?
Yeah.
But it supposedly has the same tubes as that one, though.
Well, they're both tube amps, but one of them's very cheap and the other one's very well made and has tube-driven reverb, which sounds...
That's the difference, though. Is that
it sounds better.
Yeah,
right?
the reverb is different,
yeah,
for sure. But the tube amp sound should sound the same.
It's different.
Is it really?
Different,
okay.
Yeah. Fender Princeton, it's they're close to $1,000.
Yeah. See, if I was going to get the Fender Princeton, as long as it had the alternator in it or something with it.
It doesn't, but it's not that high of a wattage. I think it's actually only 12 watts as opposed to the Spencer's amp is 15.
That's right.
So, I don't know how much of a difference that would really make, but a Fender Princeton, they're beautiful little amps. I mean, they're just gorgeous. You cannot get better than that. So many people record with those things. Ryan Adams, apparently, will not record with anything else. Which is kind of interesting.
So there's a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
So there's this one for $8.99.
Yeah. That would be fine. I would say there's a bunch of weird ones on there.
There's a $700 one. It's probably a used one.
Used one, yeah. That's the normal Princeton. They're nice. That's what I would go for if you wanted to spend some money on a nice tube amp. That's what I do. The deluxe reverb that I have is the same thing, but 22 watts with a 12-inch speaker, so it's a little bit more. But those are wonderful amplifiers. You're not gonna be sorry. I'll tell you that.
Someone has a 65.
And they don't have to be that loud to sound great.
For $6.90.
Yeah, I would buy that. That's what I would do.
It says condition is very good.
Yeah, that's where I would go.
But would you buy a used tube amp? Because don't they wear out?
No, the tubes wear out, but they're not that expensive, and it's probably not a problem. I mean, obviously, when you got it, you'd want to thoroughly test it to make sure there were no problems, like anything else. But I mean, it looks very clean.
Yeah.
And obviously, take it through its paces to find out if there's anything wrong with it. But you won't be disappointed, I don't think, with an amp like that.
See, I want something quiet.
Well, they're relative. It depends on the kind of sound you want. If you want a full distorted sound, you're going to have to crank it. But to get a nice tone out of it, it doesn't have to be that loud.
Right.
I mean...
Yeah, you get prices all over the place for this thing. It goes from $650 to $1,000.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, a vintage one can be a lot more than if you have an actual 65 Princeton.
Yeah.
It's a lot more.
I mean, there are a lot of reissues is what it looks like.
Right, but the reissues are great. There's no reason to be silly about it.
Yeah, almost.
It is vibrato as well, and it's all tube driven. They're just gorgeous. But there are a lot of big deal professional guys that's all they use.
But then I couldn't use. Then this doesn't emulate other amps like that one that he has either too.
It does not.
The one that he had emulates other amps.
It does, but not as well as this.
Oh, so now
to be honest.
No, I'm talking more. I should actually look at a cube instead. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, if you want to be able to do that, I would look at a cube. Yeah. Huh. You should have bought the one I had.
Yeah, I know. I would have.
That one was. You would be getting like a half price deal.
Yeah, you were going to give me like for $250, I think, back in the day. But yeah, I would have actually.
They don't even make them anymore.
They don't?
Cubes, no.
They don't make this cube anymore?
Mm-mm.
What does Roland make?
They don't make any cubes. They make the. Well, I think they make the travel cube with the batteries. You know, but that sounds pretty.
Yeah.
Flimsy. They now make a Catan or something. Like a weird tube amp type thing that they're totally different. You can get them on eBay, I'm sure. But these cubes are my favorite.
And then, but you like the small...
My favorite solid state. The 30 is what I like the most. But these are great too. Depends on, it just happens to fit really well with my Telecaster, the 30. But
well, what's the one that would fit good with the Les Paul?
This would go great with it. The 12-inch speaker.
But this is the one that's yours. This is, you got rid of yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you sold it back for like $252 as well here, right?
I took a Cube 30 from Jared.
Okay.
An old beat up one.
Okay.
And he gave me some cash on top of it. So,
okay.
So that's what I did. So now I have two Cube 30s.
But you said there was a difference.
In case one breaks.
You said that there's the Cube 30, there's like a certain one that you said it was like the best out of the cubes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the 30? Is that the one that is the best? Or is it?
There's different ones. There's the 30X and the 30GX and the 30XL, and they're all a little bit different.
And which is the best?
The earlier one that I have, I like more than the later one.
Which is?
I think the GX is the more recent one, which I don't like as much. But I would say with a Les Paul, I would go with this.
Oh, really? Okay.
In general. You know, anything, the 12-inch, this has a 12-inch speaker, I believe. Maybe it doesn't. Yeah, no, I don't know, it doesn't. Nah, maybe I can't really tell from here. But they make a whole range. They make an 80. And because it's a, solid state amp, it's not, you can turn it down and it doesn't affect the tone that much.
But then I can't do that thing that you were doing where it went from soft to loud.
No, not as intensely, no. If I were you, I would definitely buy a Princeton. That's, honestly, I mean, if you want an absolutely gorgeous tone every time you plug in your guitar.
But I also want something quiet, because I can't have something loud as the key thing.
Well,
otherwise,
I mean, how quiet? I mean, because it's...
bedroom quiet.
I mean, they're considered bedroom amps, I think.
Yeah.
If you look up bedroom tube amps, I think the Princeton would be on there. It might be just a touch loud to get in the sweet spot, but not much.
But again, it's only going to give me one sound too, right?
Yes.
That's the thing.
But you don't need any more than one sound if it's a great sound, if you know how to use it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It says, it showed me a whole bunch of smaller amps for better amps. When I say that, it's got all different. Shop better amps, it's got all different.
Yeah. Princeton is probably somewhere in the lineup, I would expect. I mean, there's a zillion amps out there, but...
Yeah, Fender has a whole bunch of different ones. Best tube amps for home.
Yeah, I'm guessing that would be in there.
Oh, so they put the Fender Pro Junior 3 combo in there instead.
Yeah, well, what's the wattage on that? I mean, not that the wattage is a direct measure of volume, but...
That one is...
probably not much different.
It's probably like a 15 or 10.
Yeah. So
there was also something that somebody was selling an alternator for $50 for this actual amp.
Yeah, I would not get an attenuator. Attenuators that just soak the heat off.
Yeah.
Are useless because they turn your tube amp into. You have no dynamic. You're way better off with a solid state amp than a tube amp with a cheap attenuator. Even the good attenuators affect the tone. Even the power station affects the tone, but the power station affects it the least and gives you the ability to turn it completely up or completely down, as well as is a 50-watt power amp. If you ever buy a Kemper, you can buy an unpowered Kemper and use that as your power, and it will sound better than a powered Kemper because of the tube clarity. So it's like a hi-fi stereo set kind of tube kind of a sound. So that's a savings right there. You save $400 on a Kemper by getting one that's not powered if you ever want to buy one. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, if I have a tube amp and I have a power station, I can then use that. You can also use it for recording and other purposes.
Well, that's the big thing.
You can use it for a lot of different stuff.
More recording. But the power
You
station.
can use it for direct recording.
But the power station isn't a power station. Is it like a head? Is that what the power station's like too?
It's an amp. I mean, it's a head. Yeah, it doesn't have a speaker. It's a head. It's a reamper, is what it is. It takes your signal.
Okay.
And you take your combo amp and you take the speaker out.
Okay.
And you put the speaker into the power station, and then a cable from your amp that normally goes to the speaker into the power station.
That's the same as
so it's in the middle.
That's the same as the
like an attenuator, right?
Okay.
And it functions as an attenuator, but it also functions. What it actually does, an attenuator just sucks the heat off.
Right.
What this does is it reamps it, so that it's using its 50-watt amp to take the signal from your tube amp, no matter what size it is.
Oh, okay.
So you can actually take a Princeton and turn it into a 50-watt amp if you want, for any reason wanted to, or you can turn it down to a 1-watt amp. You know, in terms of sound, I mean, it's one way of what. Plus, the dial is smooth. You can just go like that, whereas the other attenuators will go 5, 10, 15.
Right.
And that's like having a volume knob that, you know, you'll never find just where you want to be. It's like, that's too loud, that's too quiet. So I've read and seen so many great things about it. And to me, I'm thinking, if that could power a Kemper, or what comes next after a Kemper, because this is a device that's not going to go out of style in terms of its value.
Right, that makes sense.
So let's say in 10 years they come up with a computer-driven thing that's amazing, the Kemper or the power station would power it. So it's like a good, solid investment, you know. That's how I'm looking at it. I mean, I want to buy one eventually. But if I were in the market for a dynamic tube amp that had a lot of touch sensitivity, I would definitely go with the Fender Princeton. Now the Super Champ, which is what Spencer had, is great too. It's great too, but it's, you know, I mean, it's a significantly lower quality build, and the reverb is very digital sounding as opposed to the lush, gorgeous tube reverb that's in the Princeton. Just, I mean, if you play them side by side, it's noticeable. Depends on how picky you are about tone, I guess. The price difference is noticeable too.
That is. That's the.
But the resale is there too. If you buy one for $690, you'll be able to sell it for $690. I mean, there's, you know, those amps are super popular. I mean, everybody wants one because they're small and they're quiet, and they can be mic'd up if you're playing a gig. So
right.
So they sell very easily, and at that price point, you're not going to lose any money on it.
Yeah.
Even if you hold on to it for years.
That was one I had to pick up there, is the 650 one.
Yeah, that's
in a different state, so I don't know about that.
Oh, well, now you know how to deal with that. But they're out there.
Yeah, it seems like it. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah, I would definitely, as opposed to getting a Rock Crusher. A Rock Crusher is a pretty good attenuator, but to me, it's, you know, a power station for another $200 gives you so many more options and will sound better.
Gotcha. Okay.
But to take a tube amp and truly not alter its tone and be able to turn it up and down is not possible. Also, because of pushing air through the speaker gives you